Join the Rotary Club of Neepawa for Rotary Presents, a twice-monthly presentation and Q&A with a different guest about topics at the heart of Neepawa.
Well, our guest today is Holly Pankratz. Holly is the Assistant Executive Director of Touchwood Park. She tells me she's been with Touchwood for 12 years. I'm going to let her tell her everything else, but she's here to talk about their new playground, and I don't even know what you call their new playground. But anyway, I'll turn it over to Holly and she can tell us a little bit about it.
Hi everyone. Yes, thank you, Marie. I am Holly Pankratz, Assistant Executive Director of Touchwood Park. I'd like to thank the Rotary Club of Neepawa for inviting me here today, and Marie for contacting me. It's been great chatting with you guys over lunch. I wanted to chat about the Touchwood Park Accessible Playground that we have up at the north end of town, right beside our day program. Touchwood Park partnered with a Canadian company called Parkworks, the regional sales managers out of Winnipeg, and so that was who, and actually his hometown was in Prairie. So it was kind of nice. He was pretty excited to come back kind of to home for himself for this project. This playground is located adjacent to our Touchwood Day Program building at 445 Commerce Avenue, utilizing the existing space that was owned by Touchwood. There was previously a swing set and sandbox in that location, and that's been removed for our new park. This project's been in the works for about 3 years. This past July, we were fortunate to have many community volunteers prepare the site base, install the equipment piece by piece, bolt by bolt, by hand, and the rubber matting was poured. So I'll just take a few minutes to go through the points of our playground. Okay, so up first we have the inclusive play structure. This was going to be, if you head up there, it's the largest piece that's on the design. It does have a few points of play, elevated gameplay. So from the base to the highest point where the slide is 3 feet. Fully inclusive, it's a ramp. And as someone in a wheelchair rolls up, there are board games along the way. I didn't bring a pointer, sorry, I'm just gonna point in here. But there's different board games along the way, tic-tac-toe, memory, mazes, that kind of thing, little gears. The ramp continues up to the little house where the slide is. There is a transfer seat there that's about 1 foot high. So meaning that it's easier to transfer out of a wheelchair to kind of a stool rather than to the ground level. So that also gives us the height on the slide. And the slide is a dual slide, so that either 2 kids can go together, or if I was supporting someone, I can slide beside them. The other side of that same structure is this side. It's a wheelchair bouncer. So the wheelchair actually goes right into that unit, and then the whole thing just kind of shakes. So it's giving that back and forth motion. We've got the slide, we've got the elevation. So there's kind of a lot going on in one big piece. Whoops. Okay. This one is called the Leaf Hideaway. So it is a stationary structure. The first top leaf that you can see, that's the higher one, it is raised enough that if you were sitting in a wheelchair, you could roll right underneath and essentially play hide and seek with friends. The other one is slightly lower, and they are all climbable. So kids can get on top of that if they want to. So it's kind of a dual purpose again, where it's climbing and it's inclusive with the person maybe in a wheelchair or on the ground, but also at the same time, if there's not people climbing on it, it could be a bit of a sensory space too, where it's potentially just a little bit quieter. Okay, the swing set and the wheelchair swing. So we have both. This one on the left, this picture is the large swing set. So with that, there's an infant swing, there's 2 belt swings, and there's an accessible seat. The accessible seat is like a bucket, pardon me, with kind of an apparatus over that will secure the person when they're swinging. You'd have to transfer from, say, a wheelchair into this seat. This first, on the right-hand side, is the actual wheelchair swing. It's an independent piece of the first set. That is where this wheelchair slides or rolls up a ramp onto the platform. There's a connecting kind of ramp when you roll up, and then that piece comes up to secure so that your chair doesn't move. Pardon me. So again, we're encouraging parallel play, because if I'm needing an accessible seat and the other person isn't, we can still swing together. We're still playing together regardless of ability. We can all just be together. It provides the back and forth movement as well. And I should say too, the inclusive swing has a weight capacity of 550 pounds. So we definitely have adults that are going to be using that as well. We have 2 Scylla teeter-totters, which are slightly different than your traditional teeter-totter. They're on large springs. So they still go back and forth just the same, and they're kind of bouncers in a sense. Again, encouraging the parallel play. The seats are large enough, and then they have handles that you could transfer into. Again, I could hang onto the seat, or I could hang onto the bar ahead of me. Kids can get in the middle of that as well, and you can just sit on there while they're bouncing around. We have a visual communication board that has the kind of basic wants and needs that someone can point to if they're nonverbal. We have one side translated in English, and the other is translated into Gaelic. Also has the alphabet and number system as well, and then yes, no, stop as well. So if you have somebody that doesn't know how to speak yet, or somebody in their adult years that doesn't speak, they can use this. Our surface features. So overall, the whole playground is a pour-in-place rubber. That is for ease of accessibility. It's all on surface, it's all flat, there's no edges to get hooked up on. It does have a roll down edge. You can see on the bottom right picture there. So the roll down edge meaning that the rubber rolls down, and then our next step, we're not done, is that grass will meet that. So it'll be an easy transition. Again, you don't have any edges that someone's gonna fall off or a wheel's gonna fall off. It just smooth transitions straight to grass. It does have a track design, the two-tone track, which is just fun. Kids like running the track. So that goes around the perimeter of the entire playground. Under every point of play, there is a green circle. So that has a few benefits to it. Part of it is it attracts kids to it because it's noticeable. There's a green circle under that. What do I need to do there? So it pulls people there to play, but it also kind of gives you a bit of a zone of safety, because if you're in the green circle now under the swings, you might get hit. So it's kind of a dual purpose of there's something going on, but also safety. And then there's also a maintenance factor there too, that the maintenance on this product is very low, but under the high traffic areas, it will wear out over time. So then we were replacing colored circles with another colored circle instead of trying to match a somewhat faded other surface. So this project is costing about $290,000. To date, Touchwood Park has raised $179,000. 23,000 of that was actually just raised at our annual golf tournament that was held on July 29th. Touchwood Park would like to thank the community for their significant donations and participation in various fundraising events. With these funds, along with successful grant allocations of $67,500, we are at 62% of our total fundraising cost. A huge thank you to all the volunteers who worked hundreds of hours to ensure the installation of the playground equipment was completed on schedule and allowed Touchwood to stay on budget. Touchwood Park continues to fundraise, apply for grants, and accept donations towards this project. Touchwood Park is fortunate to have the community support, businesses, service clubs, individual donors, and to be part of the Neepawa community for the last 61 years. We are very excited to be able to give this space back to the community. Again, as I mentioned, it's an inclusive space for everyone, regardless of age, regardless of ability. It literally is just for everyone, and every point of it is for everyone. So that concludes what I had. Does anybody have any questions?
How many clients would you have that require that kind of space, play space?
The Touchwood Park as an organization supports about 50 people in the Neepawa community. Because of the different play areas on every piece, I would say everybody. Okay. Because if you need mobility access, that's there. If you don't, you can still use it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Are you finding any of the neighborhood kids coming around and using it?
Yep, I was out there yesterday actually, and there's kids on there and they said, this is not our first time. So, so we're not 100% open per se. The playground itself is installed and safe, CSA's approved, but you'll see like the landscaping isn't done. So right now the rubber rolls down to gravel, which that will be backfilled with grass. That's coming in the next, they're actually just kind of working on it now. So plus some signage, some last finishing touches, but absolutely the neighborhood kids are on it.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. I should mention too, the rubber is different than when we originally heard about this product. It actually has some give to it, which is kind of different when you walk on it. So it has to be different depths for fall zones. So around the swings, for example, I believe it's 12 inches deep, so that if someone was to fall off the swing, there's less harsh impact. So that being said, when you walk on it, it actually kind of gives under your feet a little bit, which is a little bit different to kind of walk on, especially off of the sidewalk or grass. But it's a very neat product, and I think I see the value in it for sure. The smooth transitions, but also yes, if you fell, it would be a lot softer fall.
Holly, do you happen to know, is that product like recycled material?
No, this particular one isn't, but there are other rubber products out that I believe are recycled car tires. But if I remember correctly, it's more like a tile, a rubber tile, which we had investigated that route as well. Although then we would run into ground shifting edges, which we didn't want any hazards.
Any and all donations are welcome, I'm assuming?
Absolutely, yeah, we're at 62%. So just shy, we're about 120,000 short at this point. We're covering that with financing and continuing to fundraise. Lots of grant applications. Very thankful to the community. There's been a lot of groups that have held events, and then Touchwood Park has been the recipient of the playground. So even that has been happening quite a bit in town, which is very nice to see, and we're very appreciative of that as well.
Holly, I think you talked about the lifespan of the product, but what does it take to replace a piece like in the high impact areas? Like the basic slide, I can see that being a lot of pounding.
Yeah, so the damaged area will be cut out and a new rubber blade. I don't have a picture in it, but actually the rubber was laid with almost like cement. The company that was hired to do that, they were on their hands and knees with a trowel, actually manipulating everything by hand. So they would cut it out and then do that again. Yeah, before it's set, it's a very movable product, and if it doesn't run, they just had a big trowel and put it where they need it, and check their fall zones, and the next morning it was cured.
Wow.
Yeah.
So here's how does the product come, like before they applied it?
So many bulk bags of the rubber itself, and so it's like little kind of just almost like little pebbles or chips. They then mixed that with a chemical product not sure what it was, but they mixed right before applying.
Okay.
And then that made it sticky. And I mean, I did hold on to some of it before it set, and it was kind of somewhat sticky. But then the next day they said it'll be in place where it is, but yet it still has that give. So it's a very interesting product. Yeah, if you're walking by, even if you don't want to use the playground, go walk on it because it's very different. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions? Good to go.
We'll get around and we'll see you.
Okay.
Holly, thank you very much for coming and sharing. I think it's a wonderful park, and to have people like yourself that are helping to make it happen. As Rotary, we say thank you for making the investment in the community, and thanks for coming by us. Can I give you a pen as a token of
Sure.
our appreciation?
Thank you very much. Thank you.